Hello, everybody. This is Jay Chatfield, and welcome to Loving Yourself to Life. This podcast is produced by Grace Guidance Production, where we bring you media, where we bring you media that uplifts, heals, and inspire you to love your life. Life doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be learned from and you evolve. That's how I see it. Nothing really happens to us, it happens for us. And today I have landed a guest, guys, a guest of the Loving Yourself to Life lifestyle. That's what's up. People, real people out there who have found in themselves the will and the motivation to live and also inspire as they live. They live by example. Today we have Kathy with us. Everybody, let Kathy on in here. Welcome, Miss Walden, Kathy Walden. Hello, hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you again.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
I'm excited I love talking to people, but Kathy was a really great breath of fresh air. We met a little later in the afternoon. And I thought about our conversation as I went to bed that night. I was
I
like,
love it.
what's it's really great just to, and this is what I tell the people, my audience, is that it's great to find people that have lived in the darkness. I know it
Yes.
sounds really bad, but like that
Yeah.
have lived
Yeah.
in the darkness and have done things to, you know, to show that it's the work that's required in order to see those great things in yourself to evolve. So that's why I just thought about our conversation.
I'm so glad. That actually makes me really happy. That makes me really, really happy. So thank
we,
you.
t- we talked about trauma, y'all. Y'all know I get excited about trauma. For
Yep.
some
Yep.
reason.
Yeah. And one of my things was I said that trauma creates drama.
It does, but
Mm-hmm.
it creates great drama, and we're gonna talk about that. But first, why don't you go ahead and just kind of introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from. If you have moved, you have a job, family size, social security.
Yes.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah. um, well, my name is Kathy Walden. I am actually a spiritual life coach, teacher, mentor, empath. And let's say I grew up in the Seattle area, and then I moved down to the Dallas, Texas area. I lived there, raised my children there for 25 to 30 years. And then I sold my house almost 2 years ago. I said, I don't want to live this life anymore. It doesn't feed my soul. And I decided to sell my home. My intuition was telling me it was time. It was time to do something else, time to have an adventure. And I decided to go off on an adventure. And I did actually date somebody in New Orleans at the time. He was there part-time. So I went and stayed with him for a little bit. And then I was going to go off and kind of travel and do my own thing for a bit. And then, of course, COVID hit. And that changed everything. So I lived in Colorado for a short time with my sister. And then I went back to Seattle for a little bit. And then I went back to New Orleans. And since then, I now have moved to Virginia. So I'm having my East Coast adventure now.
Wow, that's just, I'm always caught on, you were in a place and
Yep.
you said, oh, um, I think I need a change. I think I need to do something else. Like,
Yes.
what gives you the confidence to act on that? Because I know many people think like that.
Well, I think for one, my children were grown and gone. And I didn't have a significant other. Really, I was like on my own. And one of the things I've learned in my spiritual practice, and I've been doing this for 25, 30 years, but one of the things I've realized is you don't concentrate on yourself until you are alone. Now, if you're lucky, you're doing it before you're alone because you don't want to have to be alone to do that. But once I was alone, I could no longer blame other people for the dishes being in the dish, being on the sink, or the shoes being out, or the bed not being made, or I couldn't concentrate on them and look at their problems. I literally had to turn inside and look at myself and deal with myself. And I've been doing spiritual work, but the true spiritual work is when you turn it in and turn yourself and you go, okay, what do I need to truly work on, and stop concentrating on fixing everyone else around you. So that's where I found myself. My kids were gone. They were both even out of the state. And my intuition just kept saying, this doesn't feed your soul anymore. Like, it's time.
Y'all, she jumped out the gate with the firepower. Did y'all hear that? Man, I mean, she said, when you are left alone, like, that gave me chills.
Yeah.
What you just said, like, when you don't have anybody else to kind of look after anymore. And but a lot of people aren't alone, and they need to make these choices.
Right.
So,
right.
you know, how I don't know. I know you didn't do that, but do you have any advice of what you can do to kind of look into that for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I still believe that when you even have a spouse and children at home, you have to take time for yourself. I mean, I used to be a flight attendant, and we always said, put the oxygen mask on yourself first and then on your child. And there's a scientific reason for it. Of course, we don't want to talk about science because that gets people all up in arms, but there is a reason, and that's because you will pass out and die. Like, you have like 7 seconds or 15 seconds to put the mask on, and you won't have time to do your child and then do you. You have to do yourself, then your child. And that is the same in life. You can't keep giving from an empty well, and you can't keep giving literally what you do not have. And so for me, it was always about finding that balance between giving, but also giving to yourself. And it is much more challenging when you have children and a spouse. But learning to love yourself, learning to nurture yourself is so key. And then when you start doing that, then you start listening to your intuition, and your intuition starts telling you what directions to start taking. I think it gets challenging if you hear your intuition saying, going, leave, leave, leave. Make sure it's your intuition and not your ego. Right?
Oh,
you want to make
right
sure.
There.
Yeah, you want to make
right
sure
there.
it's your spirit.
Stop it right there. I can tell you that is 100% correct. I couldn't even hear from myself. I couldn't hear from God or anybody else until I kind of took ownership of me.
Yes.
You know, and because I was so busy looking and listening to everything else, right?
Yes.
Because the world teaches you that the help is on the outside. Go on up there.
Yes.
And somebody's life is the standard when you don't even know what's going on with them. So that is 100. Man, you did very well with that explanation.